right now we go to the association, gentlemen. In a piece from Sports Illustrated, LeBron James was asked about his motivation now that he's captured the elusive title for the city of Cleveland. James saying, quote, "My motivation is this ghost I'm chasing. The ghost played in Chicago. I think it's cool to put myself in position to be one of those great players, but if I can ever put myself in position to be the greatest player, that would be something extraordinary." Stephen A., your reaction to King James' comments there?
Well, I think it's a beautiful, beautiful goal to have. I applaud him for having it. He's definitely the greatest small forward to have ever played the game of basketball. He's definitely one of the greatest players in NBA history. He certainly made liars out of all of us, including myself, because I thought they were done once they were down 3-1. And I still, to this very day, think that he kind of instigated that incident with Draymond Green that got Draymond Green ejected. But the hell with criticizing him for it. He won the championship because of it, because I think that series would have been over in 5 games. Having said all of that, let me look into the camera because, sometimes my message gets a bit construed. I want to look into the camera and I want to say this. There is no way in hell that LeBron James will ever be the GOAT. As long as Michael Jordan's legacy is what it is, it will never happen. 6 for 6 with 6 NBA Finals MVP. There was never a sweep by Dow.
Don't
never
more than
me.
6 games,
I'm talking. That's right. Don't you get me started. There was never a sweep by the San Antonio Spurs. There was never an epic collapse where the likes of Jason Terry and J.J. Barea, who are both about a foot shorter than him, were defending him. Okay? And, of course, to me, I don't even count last year's loss to the Golden State Warriors. I think that's unfair to LeBron James. He's a 3-time champion. We all know mad respect, a great, great iconic figure. But when you talk about being the GOAT, that means the greatest of all time. Cool J made it famous. Cool J, the greatest of all time. Remember that song. Bottom line is this. You have three finals losses on your resume. You ain't getting around that. The reality is, I don't care what LeBron James does over the course. And by the way, he's elevated to himself to the point where I don't even want to hear criticisms about LeBron's no more. I'm not criticizing him. There's nothing to say. He is, glorified air. I get that. But there's only one MJ. 6 for 6 with 6 NBA Finals MVP. And like you said, that Game 7 that LeBron James just won against the Golden State Warriors, it never happened with MJ because MJ never allowed the series to get to this Game 7 in the NBA Finals. He is MJ. He is Michael Jordan. He is the GOAT. And the record is flawless. Kobe was 5-2. I mean, this guy, MJ, 6 for 6, unblemished. LeBron can't usurp that. He can usurp a lot of things.
4 finals losses, by the way.
4. I'm sorry, 4. 3 and 4. 7 finals appearances altogether. 3 and 4 in the finals. Yes.
Jordan 6-0 with 6 KOs is what you're saying in the finals. No one ever went the distance.
That's right.
Look, let's put it like this. And for kids who don't understand how great Michael Jordan was, even with advancement in terms of our understanding of the game, how to play more efficiently, and LeBron is a freak for that stuff. He's all in on that. He understands it. He's physically a marvel. The latest weight training, the latest everything, he can keep himself together better than athletes used to. With all of that, a careful analysis of the statistical record using the most cutting-edge analytics has Michael Jordan ahead of LeBron James. And LeBron James's averages are declining as he gets older. So peak for peak, the ship has sailed. I get that. Let me tell you something else about Michael Jordan. Everyone even Jordan needed to get by the Pistons. He had to learn how to win, and the Pistons knocked him out. That's also nonsense. The first time Jordan played with another All-Star was Scottie Pippen's first All-Star year. He took that Pistons team 7 games, and Pippen couldn't play in Game 7 because of the headache, and they lost. Pippen's PER jumped to prime levels the following year. They swept the Pistons. If you would have given even a young Michael Jordan a prime Scottie Pippen right away, Detroit gets nothing. The Lakers, all those teams get nothing with Jordan in his prime. He's the greatest of all time. However, as Stephen A. would say, when LeBron choked away 4 consecutive fourth quarters against the Dallas Mavericks, it looked like the Jordan ship had sailed, never to return. But a funny thing has happened, Stephen A. he reinvented himself as a clutch player. He has kept the level of consistency, which even Jordan couldn't, because Jordan took those 2 years off, most of 2 years off, and LeBron's just kept going, kept grinding, kept getting deep into the playoffs. LeBron had a finals, not this past finals, but the finals before that, that was so otherworldly that with Matthew Dellavedova as the second best player on the team, he went 6 competitive games with Golden State. Yeah, fine, but what would he do if he had a little more ammunition? Beat the 73-win Golden State Warriors, come back down 3-1. It had never happened. It was certainly very unlikely to happen against a team like that. Draymond Green goes up the hard foul at the end of the game. LeBron comes down on his wrist, misses the first free throw that would have iced the game. Because of the wrist, you could see it was bothering him. Gets his head together, on the line, finals on the line, makes adjustments, hits the free throw to ice Game 7 of the finals. He has now at least forced himself back into the conversation where if he wins another finals this year, of course, peak for peak, you won't be able to argue against Jordan. But when you look at the totality of his career, if he winds up with 6 or 7 finals championships by the time he's all done, you can at least argue, look, if you were drafting players to start their career, Jordan, you know, he took that time off. He went 3, then took 2 years off, then went 3, and then basically was done. LeBron just kept going.
Well, listen.
He's forced himself back into the conversation.
Listen, I didn't know that I was talking to a motivational speaker. I mean, maybe I should call you Tony Robbins. Just find the goodness in everybody. I didn't know that's where we were going. Of course, you could sit up there and look at LeBron James and say he persevered. He didn't take 2 years off. He didn't try to go and play baseball. If you're Kobe, he didn't facilitate getting Shaq out of town, etc., etc. You could say all of that about LeBron James, okay? But you also could say this about Jordan. He didn't leave for South Beach. You understand? Or in the case of Kevin Durant, leave for Golden State. No. He stayed where he was. And what they did was they got Pippen around him. Wait a minute. At the time that they acquired Pippen, you had the Boston Celtics and Bird. You ultimately had the Pistons. You still had the Showtime Lakers out west. Michael Jordan didn't think about leaving because back in those days, they didn't think about leaving. Kobe Bryant had an opportunity to leave, could have left for the Clippers, could have left for Chicago, but stayed in L.A. in the aftermath of Shaq's departure. Why? Because as he told me, on several occasions, on the air and off, he wanted to prove that he could do without Shaq, and he didn't want to be anybody's sidekick. So here you have a situation where even though I have no problem whatsoever with LeBron going to South Beach because he was still the man, he did have D-Wade and Bosh. Kevin Durant, yes, you're going there, but if Kevin Durant, listen, none but respect, Kevin Durant is phenomenal. He's great. But at the same time, am I going to look at him if they win the championship as a champion, the likes of a Jordan, an Isaiah, or even a Steph Curry and a Klay Thompson? No, because you jumped on the bandwagon with them. It's a different. Jordan was the damn bandwagon. Jordan was the bus. He was driving the bus. He was hiring the he was putting the passengers on the bus. Okay, he was taking it city to city. He was the man. That's the difference, and that was always the case. And there was no reprieve. There was no growing process. There was no maturation process that needed to take place. He came on the scene. He was the man, and he stayed the man until he left.
Jordan averaged 28 his rookie year. Then he got hurt in his second year. Came back
and dropped
63. But then people forget that third year he dropped 37. He was already the best player in the NBA. I mean, from that time, well, no, Magic is better. Bird, stop. Jordan was the best player in the league since his third season. Next year he came back 32, 8-8. He's the greatest player of all time. We're on the same page. I will say this: times change. And LeBron James holding him to the same kind of, not just standard, but to the same standards of Jordan's time is not entirely fair to LeBron. Jordan was born into a great situation in the NBA. Eventually, Phil Jackson as the coach, Scottie Pippen, Horace Grant. Now, Pippen's partly his greatness was a result of scrimmaging against Michael Jordan. I get that too. And Jordan, as I said, is number one. However, it was still a great situation. Later, Dennis Rodman, and he had these great teams with a great coach around him. LeBron wasn't quite that lucky, but in terms of who's driving the bus, look at what cities get to play in the NBA Finals. The answer is whoever's the best out west and whatever city LeBron James is playing in. I mean, basically, that's the Finals every year. Who's the best team in the West and where is LeBron James playing? Because that is going to be the Finals matchup.
But what you're missing is that there's a question mark at least somewhat as to where LeBron James was playing. And the only difference between that and Jordan is that there was no question mark because Jordan wasn't thinking about leaving Chicago. So whereas with LeBron, you had to guess where he was going to be, or with Kevin Durant, you had to guess where he was going to go. In the case of Michael Jordan, there was nothing to talk about. He was in Chicago. He was staying in Chicago. And the only reason why he left for Washington ultimately after retiring a second time was because Jerry Reinsdorf and those boys weren't willing to give him an ownership stake. That's about it.
One more thing about Jordan for kids who don't know, because what I hear also a lot about him nowadays is, well, he wasn't the best athlete. He just wanted it the most. No. Jordan was by so far the best athlete that Sports Illustrated did a piece on him. Is he defying gravity somehow? They wanted to know how he stayed up in the air so long. He had a 48-inch vertical and reportedly a 4.3 40. Jordan at 6'6" with a 48-inch vert could actually go 2 inches higher than LeBron at 6'8" with a 44-inch vert. Jordan was, in addition to everything else, also the greatest athlete. He's the GOAT, and there's a reason for that. We agree about that.
So long as you know.
So here's what I'm taking from this conversation. LeBron is going to stay chasing ghosts. He's not going to catch them, and you're saying there's a chance that he can't catch the
I'm
ghost.
saying he's forcing his way. He wasn't even in the conversation a couple years ago.
After this past,
he's forced his way. He's going to go down likely as the greatest non-Jordan, non-big man who ever played basketball.
Right? It's good for him to have this goal because shooting for this goal will probably help him capture a couple of more championships at the very least. But it's not about Jordan's 6 rings. It's about the fact that he's unblemished. It's the fact that he's undefeated. The man never even allowed the finals to go to the 7th game. This is who Michael Jordan was. There's nothing to talk about. Go ahead and chase them damn ghosts.
Also, like I hear a lot about competition back then. When he came back that first year back, when he started the second three-peat, he had to go through a 60-win Shaq and Penny squad that had just been to the finals the year before, and then a 63-win all-time great Seattle team. There was plenty of competition.
Yes.